Hey, Steven.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. It's been a while since we've done this, but I'm really excited. We have a new set, new big screen. We've kind of upgraded a little bit,
I love it.
but I think we're gonna get into a topic that is really important.
Very much so.
It's something that I deal with a lot. Something I'm sure that you deal with a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, life of a startup, right? And I know it's what people deal with a lot, which is stress.
Sure.
And as some of you know, maybe you don't know, we have a stress support line, not so much supporting the stress, but helping to alleviate the stress. So we're just going to talk about all the different things that that stress has on our body and how we can help them. Kind of how I've broken this down is I have 3 questions that I want to ask you.
Okay.
And using your fancy laptop, Bobelo laptop, Bobelo brand.
We don't sell laptops.
Yet.
FYI.
Watch out, Mark Zuckerberg. And I'll ask you that, and then you kind of give me your feedback as far as
Sure.
those different effects. So the first question is, what does stress, like what are the causes of stress on our bodies? So what's the side effect? Like, for instance, if you go running, the side effect is you're winded.
Sure.
If you don't get a lot of sleep, the side effect is you're tired. So I guess what is the effect of chronic stress on our bodies and our minds?
That's a great question. It's one that we get asked a lot
Yeah.
from customers when they ask about like our stress support lines. But stress is something everybody deals with every day, right? It can be from work deadlines or problems at home or not sleeping well enough or whatever it is that causes stress. I have a fun little story about how how it interacts with your body. So, for example, if you look at this arm, right, I have a wrist brace on my wrist.
Yeah.
But that's actually on my wrist to prevent my elbow muscles or my elbow tendons from moving very much because I have some tears in my elbows. I don't know what I did to my elbow. I thought, oh, maybe I was weightlifting. Maybe I couldn't figure out anything I did wrong. But as we dug deeper into it, I found that the problem with my elbow is actually stemming from a long-term shoulder injury. And because I had the shoulder injury, I started favoring my elbow muscles instead of using my shoulder muscles, which in turn now I have to have a brace on my arm.
Wow.
But the weird thing about that is that's how stress really works in our bodies too. Like a lot of times people
It's
think,
kind of
well,
like a domino effect.
it's a domino effect.
Mm.
Exactly. Chronic stress and stress in general, it disrupts literally every single system in your body.
Mm.
It can suppress your immune system to make you get sick much easier. It can upset your digestive system. Like I know we have a little chart that I was thinking we could bring up that kind of shows just some basics of it, but it can upset your digestive system, give you, acid reflux, and make your stomach feel weird, and give you butterflies. It can mess up your reproductive system. A lot of people I know personally that have tried to have kids. They've had a lot of stress about not being able to have kids, and
Wow.
that actually exacerbates that problem. It
Wow.
makes it even more hard to have kids.
Wow.
It can increase the risk of heart attack and stroke. It can increase or speed up your aging.
You said aging as in
aging as
okay.
I'm getting older. I was just listening the other day to another podcast, and it talked about how graying hair is a reflective of actual stress chemicals in your body that then.
If
go
you want to
and
learn
age
about
your
that,
hair.
check in the link below.
Yeah,
We'll
we can
definitely
totally
link
put
that.
that.
Yeah.
One of the other things that it does, probably the most scary thing that it can do is actually can rewire your brain and cause a huge increase in things like anxiety, depression, and other mental health problems. And these are all so interrelated, you don't even know half the time that stress is causing these things. A lot of time I go to the doctor for a stomach upset or I'm having trouble sleeping. And most of the time, it's related to some kind of stress. Yes, there's diseases and there's other points, but a lot of that comes down to the conditions of you being too stressed all the time, which afflicts the rest of your body.
That's so interesting because I have a very love-hate relationship with the modern health organization or just modern health in general.
Sure.
And I think a lot of the times we go to the doctors, we have a backache, we have a stomach ache, we have, XYZ. And unfortunately or fortunately, the prescription is either we don't know or you can take this pain pill. And I wonder, I mean, especially with this chart right here, I wonder if a lot of those ailments, obviously I'm not a doctor, I can't speak to that. However, I wonder if a lot of these ailments can be related back to stress.
Totally. I totally agree with that. I know that medical establishment is moving more and more towards prevention than it is like the pill thing, which is good. They're finally starting to recognize that, hey, we need to change the way we approach medicine. Like even things such as diabetes, right? If you think about it, when you eat tons of sugars and unhealthy food, you're
Right.
putting a lot of stress on your body because of those choices you're making, which then leads to disease states of your pancreas, which then causes type 2 diabetes and other issues.
Wow.
So a lot of that stems from stress related things on your body. One thing that people are often surprised to hear about stress is that you can deplete your electrolyte levels. And I know this is something we'll talk about a little bit in a second,
Sure.
but a lot of research has found that mental and emotional stress can actually result in reducing your sodium and potassium levels.
Interesting.
And it can interfere with your sodium and water balance too. So you're adding more dehydration effects to your general day-to-day because you're stressed. So you're not getting hydrated enough, not just from a water perspective, but you're also dehydrating yourself because you're overly stressed.
And then I would assume that the domino effect of that would be, well, I don't feel satiated.
Sure.
I really want some savory things, some sodium things, and then, you go to name your favorite restaurant.
Or your favorite packaged processed good.
Exactly, and then it's just this domino effect, right?
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
super interesting. So go ahead.
A lot of effects. Stress, as you can see from the little chart here and from what we just talked about, stress is not a good thing per se in how it affects you day to day, especially if you have chronic stress and you don't do anything to mitigate those effects. Stress is important, right? Don't get me wrong. If you're in the middle of a forest and there's a bear chasing you,
Sure.
you want to have a lot of that adrenaline and other stress things to come out and help you get away from the bear, for example. I mean, that's an obvious extreme example. How often does that happen? Very rarely.
To me, a lot, actually.
But at work, same thing. Stress is good in the sense that if you have a deadline, you can use that stress to make yourself more productive, to get your neurotransmitters firing and do the things that can help you be more effective throughout the day. But you just don't want to have those negative effects from long-term lack of mitigating those effects.
The difference would be chronic versus,
Sure.
a certain task that presents itself with stress.
Sure, totally.
Right. So next question, I guess, would be, what do we need to do in our lives to mitigate said stress, as far as we understand it at this point?
So there's a ton of things you can do. I mean, you can talk about one that's really popular and it's got tons of apps for it now, like meditation.
Sure.
Right? Meditation is huge. Yoga, breathing exercises. One of the things I like to do at night is simply lay on my bed and breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth for 5 minutes. It's not a long time-consuming thing, but it helps immensely. Like Mike, I watch on my watch. I don't have it on today, but I can watch my heart rate just go boop, boop, boop down because I'm just doing these breathing exercises. Other relaxation techniques. I mean, you could probably get a list. And in fact, I'd love if you put in the box underneath or whatever you call that, because I'm not
description.
an expert. This description. Yeah, go put what you like to do to relieve stress and help other people know what kinds of things work.
That's a really good point. If you have anything that has helped you with stress, because everybody reacts to stress and relieving stress differently. So if you have something that has really worked for you, go ahead and put that in the comments below. Whether that's whether you're seeing us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, the whole 9 yards. Be sure to put that on, because Bobelo, we're trying to create a lifestyle and a community. Yeah. And at the end of the day, we can say all the things that has worked for us, but it's up to you guys in the community of the Bobelo family. So please go ahead and put that below.
Totally. And I'm thinking of other things that I've seen other people do. Like, I haven't myself done this, but I know it works really well, is journaling, writing your experiences, prayer. Whether you pray or don't pray has a very effective, like on MRIs and other things, they've actually seen the effects of prayer on reducing stress levels and improving brain function and things like that. Exercise is huge.
Yeah.
Even if you exercise 10 minutes a day when you're doing none now, that will have a huge mitigation effect on your overall stress level. Things like coloring. One of my daughters loves to color. Even my little kids, they love to color.
Yeah.
And then I started loving to color. and things like church, I'm sitting there and coloring because it helps me pay attention and it helps me have less stress. Uplifting activities, laughing. I've heard of and seen actual articles of people curing cancer, quote unquote, from humor and comedy. Like, they sat and watched comedy shows for days at a time. I don't know if that's true or not true, but if it helped at all, and if that humor and that dopamine and serotonin you get from humor helps you, that's great.
Well, if we could look at stress as a chronic health deficiency,
sure.
I'm sure that, again, not a doctor, but I'm sure that the opposite can be true. Laughter can positively help, right? Something that I also heard, I don't know if you heard this, gratitude.
100%. I was actually going to get to that.
Okay, go ahead.
No, that's totally fine. But gratitude has been shown. This is not even like a gratitude's a great idea. Gratitude has been shown scientifically to change your mood, to change your brain chemistry, to change like your physical posture and everything, all kinds of stuff like that. So for sure, if you can find 5 or 10 things a day to have gratitude for, or even go tell people that you're thankful for them. One of the things that was shown to be very effective is like writing gratitude letters to people and sending them out.
That's cool.
Makes a huge difference in your measure of quality of life.
I remember kind of a personal story. I'm religious, obviously.
Sure.
And every night I would pray in my head. And certain things, depending on what type of religion that you're a part of, one of the things that I did was I was grateful for certain things in my life.
Totally.
I noticed that after doing that for a couple months, I didn't really notice any physical and or mental changes. But one thing that I did after that, I audibly said things.
Sure.
And within a month, I noticed, looking back, at how much more my day-to-day life and interactions with certain people was more positive.
Awesome.
And I wasn't as stressed. And so I think, to your point about writing things down or audibly saying something, there's a difference between in your head and then we call it mental calories, right?
Sure.
The mental calories that you spend on speaking rather than thinking is immense.
Interesting.
So I just wanted to throw that out there, especially for the audience. If you have tried certain things that has helped other people with stress, maybe that extra step is either writing it down or audibly doing it rather than just thinking it.
And that's the thing, it's so different for everybody.
Right.
Like not one thing. Like for example, my favorite stress mitigation technique, and I don't do it enough. My wife can probably attest on the stress case, and that I do try to do things like exercise, but if I do things like go spend time in nature, like a hike, when I hiked what's called Mount Timpanogos here in Utah last year, like that is just so incredible. And again, science shows that time in nature is one of the best things you can do to reduce your stress on a day-to-day basis. Getting away from the loud noises and from the electronics and from everything, and just actually going out in that fresh air, it has a huge effect. But that's like my number one favorite thing to do is get out into nature and run or walk or hike or whatever it is to help out with those. Those are all fantastic ways to help reduce stress.
Absolutely. And I think one of the biggest problems in our society is that there's very little time. The more that
perceived time, yes.
Well, and I'll get to that. But the more that we do, the less that we have time, quote unquote, time to maybe alleviate some of that stress.
Sure.
And I think that's one of the most incredible things, and kind of brings us to the next question that Bobelo does, which is we have a product where maybe you can't go on a hike or you can't, audibly say your prayers for whatever reason. Can we go into that? How does Bobelo help mitigate stress when maybe we can't go to those other means?
Totally.
And I want to stress also, this is not a replacement.
No pun intended.
Right. I want to reiterate, this is not a replacement for those other things.
Sure.
This is an added benefit.
Absolutely. And I think there's two ways of looking at Bobelo and what it can do for people in general. One, we have a direct correlation with products and ingredients that we have. So, for example, one of the things we have is electrolytes. This stands for all of our products. So our electrolytes are really finely balanced. We worked with chemists and nutritionists and whatever to find the right balance of electrolytes that help people not be dehydrated. As we just talked about, stress can dehydrate you and can cause you to have an imbalance in your electrolytes. So we have that in all of our products. But our current two stress support products, particularly, they have what's called GABA and theanine.
Okay.
And so theanine is kind of an active ingredient you find in teas. Some in green teas. It's not green tea, but it's an actual, extract from teas. And it's got a really soothing, calming effect on your both like your mental health, your mind, and also your body. If you think about like when you're really stressed, your brain kind of gets foggy, right? You get like, oh, I just don't know what to do. What am I going to do next? Theanine uses an effect that calms you down. It kind of helps even out your alpha waves, which are the waves that will help your body to relax. And so that's really excellent for achieving that state of calm or that state of like, I'm okay, I'm fine, I can handle things. So theanine is great. But then we add in GABA. So GABA is a neurotransmitter that's produced within the brain. And a lot of times people that have a high level of stress have a deficiency in this. There's also other things that can have a deficiency because of medical conditions and whatnot.
Sure.
But its chief role is to kind of be an inhibitory effect on your neurotransmitters, and it helps it helps the brain to relax, for lack of a better term. I could get into all the scientific-y mumbo jumbo.
We'll be here for a while.
It might be over the top. It really just kind of attacks the neurons and receptors in your brain, and it helps you just calm down. So when you combine that theanine and that GABA together, it's giving this really strong ability to just focus and calm down. And one thing it really does is actually give you like a mental kind of a boost, where instead of having that foggy, I'm stressed, I can't think, I don't know what to do next, it just kind of levels things out and helps you be like clear and feel like you're out of that fog and you have that calm brainwave pattern that you really need in order to get your day done and get through the things that you're trying to accomplish.
Interesting.
So when you add our electrolytes and then our GABA and theanine and the stress support, it's a really great mitigation for supplementing to these other tactics like the relaxation and yoga and so on and so forth.
That's incredible. I've actually, my wife and I have used our favorite flavor. I won't say what it is because it's gonna make a bias.
Oh, it's okay. You can say what your favorite is. Everybody has
lemonade. The lavender lemonade.
That's a great one.
That's one of my. No, it is my favorite. But we try to meditate every night, or do some sort of yoga, and we will always drink that about 10 to 20 minutes before.
Nice.
And we did a test where we did it without and with, and I think, I can't say this for certain, and it might just be placebo, but placebos are powerful too, right?
They are.
100% we felt that we were much more focused, and it was much more healing when we were on lavender lemonade or the other stress relief flavor.
Well, I can add to that because I get to see all the reviews from our customers, right?
Yeah.
And I see so many reviews where they're like, "Hey, I'm a medical student," or "I'm a hardworking office person or an executive," or whatever it is, and they're like, immediately within 30 or 40 minutes of taking a lavender lemonade or a tropical bliss, I all of a sudden now feel calm. I feel much more able to get my things accomplished. And we know that GABA and theanine and the electrolytes help you, period. Scientifically, they help you. But again, the placebo effect is a good thing.
Yeah.
So adding the actual things that do work on top of maybe that is a little bit of a placebo effect, that's great.
Yeah.
But we know for a fact that those ingredients are both positive in how they interact with your brain chemistry to help you be less stressed.
Yeah.
So Bobelo is great for that. And in general, all of our products, our immune system one is going to help your immune system be a little bit more on top and functioning properly, which when you're sick, how stressed do you get when you're sick?
Right.
Like, that's a huge thing. And then the other one that I really love is our energy products, which can be a full replacement for Red Bulls, for Monsters, for all those other crappy synthetic drinks that exist right now to give you energy. Because we use theanine with caffeine in there, the theanine, again, calms you while the caffeine focuses you. So you have like almost a perfect balance of a calm focus.
Yeah.
Which is a great way to be instead of that jittery, crappy feeling you get when you drink normal energy drinks. So all around, we're both de-stressing, focusing, supporting your immune system in every single way. This is a perfect drink to kind of supplement your stress reduction techniques that you're doing.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Stephen.
You're welcome.
I think this was very helpful and helped me, obviously. And all of you, I hope that you got something out of it. And also thank you guys so much for watching up until this point, and we always like to reward you for getting to this point. Go ahead and check the link below. At the bottom of the description is a 20% off your next order.
Yep.
Just to say thank you for watching and thank you for believing in the product. If you guys have any experiences with stress, like we said earlier, or how Bobelo's helped you in a certain way, go ahead and leave that in the comments.
Please do.
We will 100% respond to you. And you have anything else to say?
No, I think it's great. And I'm just excited to be working with a company that actually cares about people and wants to create products that doesn't cause more stress in your body, but actually helps relieve and improve your life.
Yeah.
One thing I forgot to mention, and we can end on it, but we also, our aim is to reduce waste, right? And waste in the world now is astronomically high with plastic waste and everything else going on. And our goal is to help reduce that because environmental stress is a real problem. People just don't realize how stressed they are because of clutter and garbage. So we have a foundation that actually helps with that too, where we try to do projects around the world that reduce environmental clutter, reduce the effects of stress and disease on the bodies. So again, every purchase that you make through our website or period is actually going to help with projects around the world that help either reduce diseases or reduce stress or improve environmental conditions for people all over the world.
So essentially what you're saying is let's reduce our stress by making a purchase and then in turn reduce the stress on the planet.
Absolutely. And others. Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.